Hey, yo, Six, this shit is crazy, right? You remember when we used to be in Lenny's basement and shit?
Now I am really tired, just in case you couldn't tell. Green juice, it helps. Alright, so for me, yesterday was entirely packed with experiences and people to meet. So today's vlog is gonna be a little bit different, because as my past self from yesterday so elegantly framed it. See, now today I have been quite a horrible vlogger. This Gamescom is apparently hard for me to vlog. See, vlogging is really all about creating a narrative for you, the viewer. And any real, genuinely creative vlog will always take a lot of effort, at least mentally. And so the trouble for me today was honestly that my mind was elsewhere. I was out having so much fun with a couple of my friends at Gamescom, and more or less kind of forgot to create this narrative telling. And so basically what I ended up with was a lot of incoherent pieces of footage. So with these inconsistent pieces of footage, I'm going to tell you guys about my experience with Gamescom and the meet and greet with ArenaNet and the Guild Wars 2 community. Strap yourselves in, cause it's story time. So my day started out pretty great with us not being able to find an actual parking spot close to the messe. Now, given that I didn't really have anything in particular that I wanted to see or stand in line for, I personally wasn't in too much of a rush, but my mate may have been. To me, Gamescom is an odd yet fantastic scene. So many companies really go out of their way to show giant, grandiose scenes and displays for viewers to watch. And there are just so many booths and so many games. Also, there are some games that I will just never truly understand how they became that big.
Cheering for a cow.
Apart from the games, I also encountered quite a few really truly amazing cosplays. Speaking of amazing cosplays, I was once told by a very wise person in my life that if you really think someone's made something or done something that is truly amazing to you, don't be afraid to tell them that. Everybody loves a compliment, especially when it's for things that you've spent so much time on, such as some of these insanely intricate cosplay costumes. Oh yeah, and I also saw a really great sign.
That is a great sign. That is a really great sign.
Almost the entirety of the day for me was spent just aimlessly walking from booth to booth, kind of just taking in the scene. Since, well, I'm a monogamer, I didn't really care to play any of the other games in particular. And since Path of Fire didn't actually have any presence at the actual messe, for me, well, then, mainly however, we were just having a good time.
Your first beer?
We also watched the Destiny 2 showcase.
The day will come when we will be tested.
Cool looking game. And we also took some time to just sit down and watch the Blade and Souls PvP tournament. Pretty cool stuff. I've never actually watched a Blade and Souls PvP match. A bit odd kind of PvP play to my liking, but what do I know really? Also, fun fact, it turns out that at the end of Gamescom, we'd approximately walked 18 kilometers. I know this because one of my mates was wearing a Fitbit. Cool toy. So by the evening, my legs were beaten. Now, we left the convention probably a bit later than we should have. So once I got home, I basically jumped in the shower and then left for the Guild Wars 2 community meet and greet. I had absolutely no clue who was actually going to be there except for Mr. Teapot. The first person I bumped into, however, right outside the actual meeting place was Sam Majesty trying to hustle his way in. With success. Now, meeting people in real life that you've only ever seen a headshot of before, or even just a gamer tag, can sometimes be a little odd, admitted. For me, mostly because when you enter the room, you don't really know what or who to look for. Anyhow, it turned out that there was actually a whole lot more people at the event that I knew. Of the people that you guys might know, I got to meet Syndrinair, the god of PvP. Basically, the dude never shuts up about it. Love you, bro. Also, Lucatrol, you know, the streamer who went on a legendary hunt for all the legendaries. There was also two of the Spanish community content creators that I've talked with previously, Eric Hanwanza and Kurai. Also mixing in some elitism with Raka from Lucky News. Vasberg, the absolutely amazing artist who also did most of the art for my channel, such as my logo. Malfarian, Sam I already mentioned. Oh, and not to forget the meme lord himself, Mr. Mighty T-Bot. I also got to chat with some of the devs that have flown in all the way from Seattle, such as Ruby, who you guys probably know from all the live streams that they do on the Guild Wars 2 Twitch. I didn't actually get a picture with her, but... And I also got to chat with the absolute boss, Mike C, who came down to sit at our table to just talk Path of Fire and Guild Wars for the longest time. Such an awesome dude. So naturally, Teapot and I flung out as many questions that we could reasonably weave into the conversation, building up to some curveballs, definitely. Cutting right into the conversation, I think my absolute favorite response from him was when I asked him about possible legendary rings and trinkets coming with the actual expansion, to which, well... We talked about a whole lot of things, really. We talked about development for Path of Fire and The Living Story, and about how much the studio had learned from their experiences with Heart of Thorns, now going into the second expansion, Path of Fire. We also chatted quite a bit about the different teams at ArenaNet working in unison. Apparently, the team that the community has come to know as the current events team is actually known internally as the Rapid Releases team, or something like that. Just a bit of trivia there, I guess. Those guys handle all things festivals and current events, and apparently a broad spectrum of other smaller projects here and there. We also talked about World vs. World and the potential for the new mounts to be implemented. Now, I'll preface this by saying that Mike's internal point of view very much mirrored much of my understanding of the troubles that go into the future development of the World vs. World in general. First off, he said, well, it took them 2 years to get gliding into World vs. World, so, but jokes aside, mounts are on the table, but the trouble with World vs. World releases seem to stem from the World vs. World community in general being so immensely divided into niche areas. Basically, according to Mike, it seemed as though ArenaNet's view on much of the World vs. World community in general was that all of their opinions are so split within niche communities, community genres such as roamers and GVG and etc. And each of these communities' opinions differ wildly. And he said that their experience with releases was that if any update didn't fit into the ideal solution of the majority group, the counter attitude and disparity between players was usually just too immense for ArenaNet to go, yes, this is what the players want, and this is what we should focus our energy on. It was super interesting to get an internal perspective on this. Another one of the perhaps hard-hitting questions came when I asked about build templates, the hottest topic to discuss currently, for very good reasons. Now, Mike said that it's not coming with Path of Fire. All features have already been announced, he said. But most importantly to me, tangentially to this question, was that we continued on to talk about how the developers at ArenaNet are very, very aware of the hot topics in the community. So in the end, he couldn't really give me an answer about build templates, but the words were somewhere along the lines of, when it's ready, which I can live with. All in all, talking with Mike was an absolute pleasure. He was such a good sport, even when we threw him some hard-hitting questions. Now, when we talked for ages with everyone at the party, and the party had died down a little bit, the true Vikings of the North, me, Sind, and Lucatrol, figured we'd hit the town. And I'll tell you this much, Sind drinks like a true Viking. Damn, that was a fun night. Also, Sind, don't forget that we've got a 1v1 scrim to settle, bro. He said he could take me without weapons and with me choosing his build. And to be quite honest, I'm pretty sure that that is actually not too far from the truth. But yeah, awesome day, awesome night, awesome people. And a huge thank you to ArenaNet for inviting me to this entire event. I had a great time, and I hope to see you guys someday soon again. Now, there's just a little under 4 weeks left for the second expansion for Guild Wars 2, Path of Fire. In case you haven't bought it yet, I'd love for you to use the affiliate link in the description down below, as that supports this channel. Also, if you haven't signed up for my personal giveaway of Guild Wars 2 merch, be sure to sign up with the other link down in the description below. Now with that, I'll go take a nap. Thank you guys so much for watching this weird vlogging series, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!
thank you for everything that you've done, because without a doubt, this is the greatest MMO community we have ever seen in store. So thank you.